All right, welcome back. We continue here with our threesome. And we're going to talk about the Penguins now because they're still in the offseason. They did sign a goalie today, young 22-year-old kid from Finland. He played well in the playoffs last year, but two-year entry level. We don't expect much from him right now. Jason, I want to ask you about Matt Murray because most people believe he'll get a new contract. The question is, you'll find out what they think about him, I think, based on term and money. How much is he worth?
Well, I'm looking at the Matt Murray contract to come in around $6 million, Pomp, and I do think it'll get done this summer. I think that's a reasonable rate for the Penguins. That's a reasonable rate for Matt Murray. It could probably be a $500,000 below that, a $500,000 above that.
How many years?
5, 6, somewhere in that range. I don't think it's going to be 7. I don't think it's going to be 3. Look, this is what I know about both sides of this situation. Jim Rutherford loves Matt Murray. He's one of his favorite people on the team. If you look at guys who are irreplaceable, it's Sidney Crosby and then probably Matt Murray. Matt Murray loves being here, loves the team, loves Rutherford. He's not a very material person who's looking to go get paid in some sort of carry price contract. He's also realistic about his injury situation. That these two sides can figure it out.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I would let him play out the next year. Maybe it turns into a Joe Flacco situation and he goes nuts and then you're stuck paying him $8 or $9 million. But I look at what St. Louis found in Jordan Binnington. That's a found money situation. They thought Jake Allen was the starter. They found Binnington under a rock, and here they are in the Stanley Cup final. Bob, I don't think goalies are like NFL franchise quarterbacks. I don't see the point in paying them big money. We haven't seen the Rangers win with Henrik Lundqvist. We haven't seen the Canadiens do a lot of damage with Carey Price since the big deal. So I'd let him walk. I know Rutherford and Sullivan love him because he's won him 2 cups, but I'm not falling all over myself because
what else
the guy
do you have in your
got hot
organization, though? That's the other question.
Well, maybe this guy from Finland. I'm not going to.
Oh, come on.
Well, not now, but maybe a year or 2 from now. Or you sign a goaltender cheap in free agency. Where did the Islanders?
Why don't you just play goaltender, Andrew?
Jason, where did the Islanders find Robin Lehner, who, by the way, was better
The
than Matt
scrap
Murray?
heap.
Okay.
The scrap heap.
Right.
Are you going to bank on finding the next Robin Lehner? The next Jordan Binnington?
Okay.
They have a 2-time Stanley Cup winning goaltender on their team.
They found Matt
They
Murray.
didn't find him. He was tearing up their farm system.
Okay, what round did they draft him in, Jason?
3rd.
Exactly. You can find guys.
All right, Mark, what do you say?
My turn? Okay. Well, they put themselves in a bad situation. I mean, I think you pretty much have to sign him. However, there are people like the Ben Bishops around where all of a sudden in Tampa he wasn't needed anymore, then all of a sudden he goes somewhere. But those remind me of NFL running backs. You could say that after the fact to be able to identify those guys in when it's happening is a different thing. So I think he'll sign. If it is $30 million, like Jason says, where are they getting that money at, Jason?
They're going to move some stuff around. I mean, if you get Kessel off the books at 6.8, they're going to move a defenseman. I wouldn't worry about the money. They have ways of figuring that out.
All right, 6.8 with Bob Kessel. Andrew, where does Kessel end up? Is he back here again for another season?
No way. I don't think that's a marriage that anybody wants. That seems very untenable. I know Jason's got a spot in mind. I'll let him handle that. To me, I think Buffalo makes a ton of sense. I'm not just saying that because I want to get on Starkey's good side either. You've got Botterill up there. They're probably going to lose Jeff Skinner in free agency, and they've got, I think, a very full cupboard of younger players on entry-level contracts who could give the Penguins some salary cap relief.
I can't imagine he would want to go there, though, Andrew.
It's
I
close to
understand
Toronto.
why it would make sense. It's close to Toronto, but
there are casinos there, Jason.
There are, but there are also casinos in South Florida, which is where I would probably more accurately pick Kessel to go. Trust me, he does not want to go to an area where like he has to talk all the time, be scrutinized. He did that once in Toronto. Guarantee you he does not want to go through that mess again.
Oh, it's not like Buffalo's media's Philadelphia.
No, I understand that, but you are going to be, I mean,
it's the hotbed.
You're going to be treated a heck of a lot differently in Buffalo than you are in Florida. And for some guys, that's really cool. I don't think it's that way for Phil Kessel. He can go to South Florida. He has a place in Miami in the offseason. They're going to spend some money. They're good down the middle. They have guys who can get him the puck. It makes too much sense.
I know Phoenix doesn't have, or Arizona, whoever it is now, doesn't have the money, but make some money. He wants to go to Arizona. He wants to play for Tocchet. Go there. If not, come back to the Pens, have a drama-filled season, and leave me alone over the Steelers.
Everyone's picking on Kaboly these days. It's unbelievable. All right. Speaking of the Steelers, we're going to talk about the NFL coming up. And it's not necessarily the Steelers per se, but it affects how many games they may play in a regular season down the road. We'll talk about that and the NFL CBA discussions, which will be coming up before you know it, next right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.